Hey y'all, it is me, Stop, Drop, and Roll On, and I'm in the garage because I've been to the, ouch, oh shoot, just so y'all, I kind of let it up because it's actually kind of dark. See, you can't, this is what I'm talking about, that's why I got the car light on. But I said I was going to do this video, but I had to go to the DMV, it's driver's license renewal time for the kid. And so, anyway, what this video is about is, I'm going to get to the point. I alluded to it yesterday about the issues that I have had in the past and even now with being on a different eating plan than the other people in my house. And Radical home goddess put up a point, and she's mentioned transition and things, and I understand that, and there's a point well taken because everybody does things differently. My thing is, when I decide that I'm going to do something after I've looked at the background of it, studied it as much as I can, for the information that I have been able to, settle myself down and look at, or gotten from different sources and stuff, because it's not even safe just to look at things from one angle anymore. It is imperative, that you do your groundwork for yourself, because it's another lady that I'm subscribed to made this statement, and it's true, and I said it over the years, that when you have an understanding about whatever it is that you're doing, that's the best understanding that you can have, because you will not be walking around quoting what somebody else thinks about a process or a program or an item or a thing. You have your own understanding. If you have experience, you have your own experience, yada yada yada, etc., etc. So I'm looking back on experiences from the past, just looking at how I dealt with those things, but also looking at how, when the things presented themselves, if the state of mind and the place that I was at when it occurred before, if I have, grown since then. And what my issue was in the past was when I used to eat a raw diet. I had so much conflict in my home that it really made eating that lifestyle, it was a drudgery. And I say that not because the lifestyle doesn't work, but because of what has to go in it. I'm talking about for me. I'm not talking about for anybody else. I'm talking about my experience. It was a drudgery for me because I still have some traditional ways. And so as far as traditional, I mean, and somebody on here, if you're looking at my channel, you might see it as, oh, you giving into the sexist way of thinking and all of this stuff. No, actually and truly, I have given into the biblical way of looking at things. And from Proverbs 31, that is where I get Proverbs 31, and over in Ephesians, those are the two, it's several examples all through the Bible, but those are the two chapters, or books I should say, with certain specific chapters that give me a way on how I'm supposed to behave from a female standpoint, as it pertains to home, and as it pertains to myself, and as it pertains to my relationship with my husband. Definitely things were different when I was single. You could do whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, as long as you're willing to give an account for it, but as a married person, I do feel the affinity toward taking care of my home and seeing about Pierre. That's part of it. I left my parent, and then I went and, I'm cleaving to him, and I'm following him as he follows, God. And my thing is, as long as he's lined up with God, then I'm going to do what I'm supposed to be doing as a wife. And I have my own personal relationship with God through Christ, and I know what I'm responsible for. Part of them is that dude, and the other part of them is that home, and then I have my relationship with God, which is up above all of it. Okay? And so when I am doing something that creates conflict in my home, I have to look at myself and what I'm doing and the necessity of what I'm doing and the way that I am doing it. Pierre is staunch in a lot of things that he does. I'm not bashing him. I'm not being negative. I'm stating what I know to be for true right now. And so when he is saying he's not going to do anything, I have no business going in there doing witchcraft, trying to tease and taunt him into, and yeah, I said witchcraft, to tease and taunt him into doing something that he does not want to do, because it will not work for him and for our relationship, because he is very rigid on some things. And I have to say that I'm venturing out here to say that most males are like that, and that most females, we have our way of doing things to get what we want to. And when you are doing that, I won't get all off into that, but I'm saying we need to watch ourselves. I put it like that. Raw diet, conflict, uber conflict is the word that comes to mind. It was beyond. Because we got to the point where we weren't even eating together. That eating is a time for communicating, coming together, things like that. And we were not doing that. It was just a constant rock'em sock'em robot type thing, because I'm eating this, my heart part of me wants him to be doing this too for the health benefit of it. Number one, being different and yelling I eat raw and being as weird as I can and all that didn't come into play for me. And I'm not saying raw foodists are weird people. I'm just saying that usually when whatever it is, I don't go out in the middle of the street and yell, I'm a carnivore, and if I want a piece of steak, I'm going to eat a piece of steak. You don't do that type of stuff. But for some reason, when people get on different eating paths, we have a tendency to just, instead of doing what you do, you just have to advertise it. And then there was also an element that reared its head that started, well, you ain't such and such if you ain't does such and such. And it wasn't me doing it as much as it was the people around me that were in the circle at that time. And it just got to be where it was too much. Now, if they were experiencing this in their homes, they were not speaking to it. Yes, I did ask the question, and I was never given a straightforward, succinct answer. To me, it was no different. Well, are you experiencing such and such and such since your person is not eating the way that you're eating? To me, that's no different than asking somebody what is today's date and being able to say, "Ooh, today is August the 26th." Boom, boom. Yes, she's doing this, or no, he's not accepting this. But it was never any of that. It was like I was doing something wrong. And I was just like, I'm just trying to eat and live and be healthy, okay? But I'm not going to do it to the detriment of going down before the magistrate, a.k.a. courthouse. Ma'am, why are you and your husband, y'all been married all these decades, down here filing for a divorce today? Because of the spiralizer and the dehydrator. That's how I felt. So I turned the dehydrator off. I put the spiralizer up on the shelf. I put the juicer away. All of that stuff, it became a signal of conflict for me. And I don't know if I approached it wrong, or I don't know, of easing into it. I really don't know, but I have matured since then. Pierre is a little bit more compliant with me at this point, because he knows I'm not going to be out here, feeding him beetle legs and, I don't know what you call it, bumblebee eyes and stuff like that. I'm not doing anything from that standpoint. I'm just saying that at this point we have both matured to a way, and I am at a point now where I'm okay with doing what I need to do, but there is still a part of me that wants him to get in on this with me so that we can both have optimal health. I know people that have children, and I've been in situations where people have not been well, and they still have not been able to count on their children coming in there and being responsible for even bringing them a cup of water. This ain't hearsay. It's not anything I've read. It's things that I have seen in this life of mine. So having children and grandkids is not a true blue indicator that you will have help when you get older. My number one goal is to remain upright, to have health in my body from the top of my head down to the soles of my feet, and that everything functions the way that it is supposed to function, and that God purposed it to function from the beginning of the time. That is a synopsis of the prayer that I pray on a regular. And the fact that I don't have children to come in and shore me up, that's even more of an incentive for me to be on a trail of health. And my number one thing, which I will continue to say, is to get my body in compliance with what the Word of God says that it is, because it's a temple. That's it. And I can put it out there, but I can't make Pierre do anything. He's his own man. We are one, but he is still an individual. It's just like everything else. We one, but when, we have to stand before God and give an account for deeds done in this body, we will do that on an individual basis. We won't be walking up there as one at that point. So my thing is, at this point in my life, I want to eat the way that I want and need to eat. And I need to keep the conflict level down. There is a balance that I have got to have to make us to do this for the rest of my life in a successful manner. That's what I'm shooting for. That is what I'm discussing and talking about. And I'm trying to find out if there are certain pointers or tips that anybody that eats differently from people, or even started out that you were eating differently and everybody else in the house was eating a different way. They're eating a standard diet, and then here you are eating something differently. How you transitioned, or how you even just settled it within yourself. Because what I was talking about earlier is, I'm still going to be preparing food, for Pierre and for myself. And there's a selfish part of me that really does not want to prepare food the way that I want to eat it, and then food the way that he eats it. Milk is not a problem. I have not drank cow's milk in ages, okay? So I can go in the store and buy a bottle of Califia milk, and then he get his cow's milk, and we just go on about our business. That's what he does. That's not what I do. And when I get a wild hair, I will go in there and make milk. Well, every now and again, he might drink almond milk. He don't know when I'm making cornbread, I'm using almond milk. I'm not putting cow's milk in that. Anything that calls for milk, I'm using my milk in it. Those are small changes that don't create conflict because he's not aware of them. But if I come in and we decide, okay, we're going to have an all-vegetable meal, Pierre is going to lift the plate up. He's going to lift up the placemat. He's going to be looking up at the ceiling, waiting on the meat to drop down like one of them Tom Cruise Mission Impossible moves. All of this stuff because he is not there. And my thing is not, I hope that if y'all don't get nothing from this, that you understand I'm not about conflict in here. I'm not about conflict in my relationship, any of my relationships. But definitely not in this most important on this earth relationship. I'm not interested in that. So that has been an issue. I mean, the last week I had some times with him because he started fussing at me about one day he just sat in and just stood up like he was running for president, and this was his motto for his campaign. We were made to eat meat. And I'm looking at him like, well, is this some type of declaration you throwing your hat in the ring? What is this about? But he was just frustrated, and that was the way that he was saying. And then one day he sat there and he was looking halfway sad, and he was like, I don't like the way we eating. He wants me to eat what he's eating, and he understands what I'm doing, but at the same point in time, he doesn't want to understand it. So I put some of my business out here in the street. I'm asking you all, if you're dealing with this, or if you have dealt with it, if you're dealing with it now, what are you trying to institute? If you have dealt with it in the past, please put your information below. I mean, tips and pointers. I'm not the only person that is dealing with this, I'm sure. But I am going to ask about it. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good day. I'm going to turn these lights out and get in here and get my day started. Toodles.